Welcome to Business News. Fitch Ratings has downgraded Nigeria's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to B+ from BB- and long-term local currency IDR to BB- from BB. According to the agency, the country's fiscal and external vulnerability has worsened due to a sharp fall in oil revenue and slow fiscal and monetary adjustments from the government. The agency says it expects Nigeria's current account deficit to widen to 3.3% of GDP in 2016 from 2.6% in 2015 and inflation to end the year at lower than 12%. Fitch forecasts GDP growth to fall to 1.5% in 2016, down from 2% in the previous year, after contracting by 0.4% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2016, partly due to low liquidity of forex. The ratings agency, however, maintains a stable outlook for Africa's biggest economy. And applications for the 500 billion naira export stimulation fund, as well as the 50 billion naira rediscounting and refinancing facilities, will be accessed through commercial banks in the country. Entrepreneurs and prospective borrowers were given this information at a dialogue session held on the implementation guidelines for the facility in Lagos. According to the acting managing director of Nigeria Export-Import Bank, Mr. Bashiru Wali, the funds will only be disbursed to successful applicants after an appraisal procedure.
The past intervention funds have been from the CBN direct to the bank that would disburse to customers. In this respect, you have two stages of appraisal or review. By the commercial bank, that is the customer's commercial bank, and after they make their own input, they consider all the indices, they package the request along with their own recommendations and appraisal and forward to NEXIM. NEXIM will in turn go through, vet what has been done, evaluate and assess independently on the merits. And if NEXIM is aligned to the view that that recommendation from the commercial bank is in order and that the venture is profitable, we will further recommend to the central bank for consideration and approval.
And the naira surged 0.41% to close at 281.67 on the US dollar at the new interbank forex market on Thursday. This is the second straight gain of the local unit on the greenback. On Wednesday, the naira was up 0.71%, according to data obtained from FMDQ OTC Securities Agency. Nigeria's central bank on Monday introduced a new forex trading regime, starting with spot market, while the naira settled over-the-counter futures market is set for launch next week Monday. And the Nigerian Stock Exchange has reported an operating surplus of 1.86 billion naira for the 2015 financial year. The growth comes despite the harsh operating environment of the past year. This was disclosed to dealing members by the leadership of the Stock Exchange at its 55th annual general meeting held in Lagos.
Members of the National Council, management staff and dealing members of the Nigerian Stock Exchange at its 55th annual general meeting.
The role that was played by...
The meeting was declared opened by the President of the National Council, Mr. Aigbuji Aig Imokwede, as he introduces other members.
Mr. Oscar Onyema, our CEO.
Afterwards is the reading of the notice of meeting by the Council Secretary, Mrs. Mojisola Adiola, then followed by the business of the day, which include the re-election of Council members and the presentation of financial statements for the year under review, among others. The performance of the Stock Exchange is described as remarkable after it recorded an operating surplus to the tune of 1.86 billion naira. This is despite the harsh economic environment in the country, resulting in the exit of portfolio investors. The Chief Executive of the NSC, Mr. Oscar Onyema, explains further.
The operating environment was very challenging, but we had put in place a number of measures that would give us resilience, and it is as a result of that resilience that we're even able to report positive numbers.
The decline in the oil price, which certainly resulted into dwindling fortunes for the entire economy, and that also impacted a lot on company general performance.
A critical issue raised at the meeting is the planned demutualization of the 56-year-old stock exchange.
We will soon be going through a member register verification exercise. So it's ongoing. There are a number of activities to complete before we will have a complete packet to submit to the SEC.
As the year 2016 progresses, the Nigerian Stock Exchange says it plans to complete its going public process, establish exchange-traded derivatives, and monetize its market services suites.
The other items on the agenda.
At the Nigerian Stock Exchange, it's a third day of bullish run as investors' sentiment gathers momentum. Bolaji Akinwale has details.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. The bulls consolidated their grip at the close of today's session of the equities market as the all-share index climbed higher by 3.13% to 31,071.25, while the market's capitalization rose to 10.61 trillion naira. On the activity chart, 37 stocks recorded price appreciations, which was led in percentage terms by GlaxoSmithKline, Champion Brewers and Transcorp up by 10.2%, 10.1% and 9.6% each. On the other hand, Nigerian Police Microfinance Bank topped a list of 17 in price declines with a 4.9% drop and was followed by CAP and Deep Capital. Market's breadth was largely impressive with a turnover of 450.5 million shares worth 5.7 billion naira and traded in 6,360 deals. Zenith Bank emerged as the day's most actively traded as investors traded over 96.7 million of its shares, while Transcorp and UBA ended as its top contenders. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
Many thanks, Bolaji. It was a green close for major African equities today as positive investor sentiment lent some support. And while U.S. stocks surged more than 1%, Europe ended sharply higher. But Asian markets ended mixed as traders brace for results from the Brexit vote. Here's a look at the day's markets performance. And that's business news tonight. I'm Imana Amawe. It's back to Ijoma. A leading indigenous oil and gas servicing company, NIGERDOC PLC, has completed the fabrication and loadout of Ofon Phase 2 wellhead platforms for Total E&P Nigeria Limited. The platforms will pave the way for drilling of additional wells and increasing production for Total's oil field OML 102 to 65,000 barrels per day. Speaking during the loadout ceremony, the chairman of Jagal Group, Mr. Anwal Jarmakani, said only a consistent work program would boost the local content drive.
Another milestone event in the heart of the Lagos Free Trade Zone and success story achieved by NIGERDOC in fabrication is what every guest and industry person in the oil and gas are here to celebrate.
That in a few months from now, the
NIGERDOC has brought its expertise to bear in the completion of this topside platform for Ofon Phase 2 project of Total E&P Nigerian Limited.
NIGERDOC and Jagal, with its excellent professional workforce, become the center of excellence, signaling that Nigeria can compete favorably in quality and safety with contemporary establishments anywhere in the world.
It is gratifying for me to note that some Nigerian companies have taken up the challenge to answer the federal government call for value creation to the economy.
Significantly, during the fabrication, 3.2 million man-hours was achieved without a lost time incident. 3,000 direct jobs, 6,000 trained personnel, 5 million man-hour overall, which is equivalent to 22,000 people in the year. And above all, the project did lend credence to the aspirations of the local content capacity.
We are very proud of it. We are very happy of it. We believe that development of Nigerian capabilities, as was mentioned by NCDMB representative, is not only the law, but it's also good business, including good business for us. So we certainly endeavor to continue.
What was incredible about this project is with the incredible staff that we have, with the professionals we have, all the way from the riggers, fitters, to the engineers, to the fabricators, to the management, to their counterparts and the management teams of the oil companies and NNPC, we pulled together to achieve a first for Nigeria.
The Orphan Platform project, according to Niger Dock, is the first engineering, procurement, construction and onshore commissioning contract awarded to an indigenous contractor, a feat which the company's management says can only be consolidated upon by retaining more jobs in country. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, draw ceremony for Africa's final qualifiers for the 2018 FIFA World Cup holding Egypt tomorrow. And that's on sports. To stay with us.